Indrani, thank you so much for coming to Rediff podcast. Let me begin by asking you, how has life been shaping up after 2022?
I'd say it couldn't have been better.
Why?
Why? Because, yes. Now, I think since 2022, my only aim has been to make up on the lost time and rebuild my life. And I genuinely feel that as a person, as a human being, I would say, and as an artist, I think I have done a good job. I would say that I'm very, very emotionally satisfied, and from a career point of view, I'm very satisfied.
Okay. How exactly are you rebuilding your life? If you could explain that in brief.
Yes. In 2023, I think my first milestone was, I would call it a marker, not a milestone. A marker was when HarperCollins published my book called Unbroken, which written, and it became a bestseller in no time. So I was obviously very satisfied with that, because I didn't know I could write, that I could write well enough for people to be able to read and understand and be able to read a book without really putting it down. So I was very satisfied with that, and obviously the book received a lot of awards and accolades, and as like best debut non-fiction, which now motivated me to write another book. That's of course not on myself, I'll tell you at the right time, which is coming out in March, by the way, getting published in March. So there you go. So I began my journey as an author, which I never thought I would have done. But anyway, so that's a new beginning, new career, I would say. So post my book, actually, once I finished writing my book, which I did actually I finished writing the entire book by December 2022, I started taking dance lessons. And dance was more a form of healing. And the lessons I took was more, I felt that not only did it take up a large amount of my time, because I had the lessons and then the rehearsals, but I always wanted to learn dancing. So I started learning ballroom dancing from Sandeep Soparkar, who's a very renowned ballroom dance trainer. And I was very satisfied actually with my dance journey. And in no time, actually, I ended up performing, I think in 2000, my first performance was in 2024, where for the Kushwant Singh Lit Fest, I was invited to put up a show. And that was my first production, which was under the banner of my company that I launched also in 2024, called Indrani Mukerjea Enterprise. So I named it after myself. I know, a bit pompous maybe, but why not?
Yeah.
So yeah.
You've lived multiple lives, small town beginnings, media baron, social exile, and you've gone through a lot of adversities and hardships. Which version of Indrani feels most real to you today?
I think each phase of my life has been a journey on its own. I would say interesting journey on its own. And when you talk about hardships is, I think, very subjective. I think my levels of resilience compared to a lot of people is very, very high. So in every situation, I have found light, I would say. I have found inspiration. And in the toughest of the times is when your mind starts working in more innovative ways. Like I started writing. I never wasted a minute of my time anywhere in my life. I've always been doing something or the other. So hardship is, I would say, it depends on how you define. For me, hardship has never been, for a lot of people, it is material comforts. For me, that's never been the case. For me, hardship has been, being deprived of emotional, or I would say physical contact with my daughter, I would say, very much, which was a very difficult phase in my life emotionally. But then that is also a phase, like I said, I utilized that to do other things very, very constructively. And here you go, I'm sitting here with you now.
What would go through your mind when you're not allowed to meet with your daughter? And how did you deal with it? Did you get negative feelings? Did you start?
Well, I honestly, I think I've been one of the very lucky ones. I've never been depressed in my life. Okay, ever. So I think that's why I said I'm very, very blessed, that way. Not too many people can say that. So I have dealt, yes, you do feel kind of a level of pain when you are kept away from your loved ones. That is understood. But that pain is something, I think, if you can control your emotions, it's almost, I wouldn't call it mind over matter. I would say mind over head over your heart. I think that's the right word to use.
And isn't that easier said than done? I mean, it's easy to say that you shouldn't let emotions come to you, but we are humans, aren't we?
Yeah, of course we are. That's why I said, of course you feel pain, but you can turn that pain into something constructive. So when I felt that pain, for example, I started writing. And,
Dancing.
Dancing was later.
Yeah.
So dancing came much later. And dancing was one of the things. And then I started making a newer set of friends, in the dancing community, because they are all very creative people. They are all very free souls. Most dancers are very free-spirited people. Mm-hmm. And for me, I realized that, I really enjoyed dancing because I am myself innately a very free-spirited person. So I think that was very helpful. Yeah.
What did adversity teach you about yourself that freedom never did?
Well, that's a very interesting question. Honestly, I think it allowed me to believe that I think you can gain, I would say, enlightenment is perhaps a bit too severe word, but I would say calm and peace in solitude. And, in your quiet moments, usually in adversity, in moments of adversity, you are also by yourself, which gives you a lot of time to reflect, to contemplate, and to create peace within yourself, which I had actually never experienced because, when you're shut out from all the noise, in the world, then you also start talking to yourself. You look within. Mm-hmm. So, and there is a different level of peace, strangely enough.
Yeah, in those times of solitude, did you ever feel lonely? Because solitude is all about calm, peace, serenity. No. Loneliness is all about fear, anxiety.
No, never. Never, because I always believe that, you are your own best companion. The rest, people would come and go. The rest is all, we all have a X number of years to live on this earth. And in this journey, of your life, there is only one person who stays with you all the time, and that's yourself. Mm-hmm. So if you can find happiness within yourself, I think the rest of everything else is immaterial.
And you believe you found that happiness within yourself.
And that is the time I actually found happiness. Honestly, I know it's a very strange thing to say, but I genuinely found peace and happiness in solitude that I never had felt earlier. And I carried that with me, and which is, the reason I feel very calm and composed today than I did perhaps 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with age that also happens, but yeah.
Yeah, in your media career and corporate journey, did you ever feel that women had to be more ruthless than men to survive at the top? Because you've been at the top.
I wouldn't say ruthless, but I feel that everything that you do as a woman, it's not just in your corporate career, everywhere you judge much more harshly. And corporate world, of course, every step that you take. That day I mean, since I'm very active on social media, I came across a very interesting post, which was, I think, posted by Cosmopolitan. And it was very interesting because it was about, I think, Jennifer Lopez and Malaika Arora. That Malaika Arora went in, she's a performer. Of course, she's going to perform. And, the entire internet became all viral about, oh, poor thing, what's going to happen to her son. Same thing with Jennifer Lopez. Poor thing, what's going to happen to her husband. So anything that you do, as a woman, becomes all about your, poor husband, poor son, poor ex. Really, I mean,
it's never about a poor woman, about the poor.
Exactly. And it's, these are choices I think today we have learned to make. And I live by my choices. There are times, my choices may be wrong. There are times my choices may be right.
Who decides that? Who decides that your choices are wrong, your choices are right?
No, I think as we move along in life, I can only speak for myself, There are times I feel that if it is a career choice, for example, maybe I could have done this a bit better. But for me, every step has been a learning process, and I have always learned. And when I succeed also, for example, in my theatre and dance career, which started budding and blossoming since June 2025, as early as that, really. So I never expected that I was going to, my first show was just a chance that I took. And I was really, really very delighted with the warmth, that Bombay received me with, or the media received me. And it was genuine, not just applause. I got a standing ovation in my first performance, or every performance I'm getting a standing ovation. So for me, it is like, yes, I took the right call. Mm-hmm. So it was just one of those things, and I'm very satisfied with that.
So you're back in public life, and you're getting fame for your dance and for your activities. Did you consciously pursue power and fame, or did they? Yeah. Or did they arrive faster than you were ready for?
Actually, when I did my first show, when I produced and I acted in it, my directors, Madhumita and Tony Chakravarti, they're very talented people. So they asked me at the beginning, prior to the show, because normally they block artists, particularly for theatre and things, that, ma'am, how many shows are you going to do in the year or in the coming year or whatever? So I said, let's just go with this show and see how it goes, and then let's go with the flow. And as luck may, and I had not booked anywhere else, or I had not spoken to anyone else, but the first show was so well received, both by the media and by the audience, and overall, I think I was very, very pleasantly surprised, I would say, taken aback by the warmth that I was received with. And like you said, I wasn't maybe even ready for it. I was not expecting it, honestly. I was not expecting that level of, acceptability or acceptance, really. So which then now for me, there's no looking back, really.
Mm-hmm. You spoke about the personal choices that you had to make for yourself. Do you think society judges women more harshly than men for their personal choice?
Of course. Mm-hmm. It is fine, for example.
Did you ever try to change it consciously? Did you try to tell the world
See, I think my actions speak louder than my words. I don't think that I have ever held back my decisions in my personal life because of what society believe that this is the good girl syndrome. And so I have made my choices, my personal choices. I have always allowed my heart to rule my head. In my personal choices, if it had to do, let's say, today, if a man marries, for example, a woman who is even 30 years younger, it's fine. He's, wow, what a dude, He's like done it, or he's like married 3 times, 4 times, it's fine. But just the moment it's a woman, for example, my ex-husband was 17 years older than me, right? But that was fine. But today, I am 53, I'll be 54 very soon. If today I happen to date, let's say, someone who's 17 years younger, I'm sure the internet would be on fire. Oh my God, I'm not dating anyone, by the way, just to clarify. Not anyone younger, not anyone older, but I'm just saying, because I'm seeing other women facing, and why not? Today I think women are extremely fit. And as much as I wouldn't like to say, most women, I think, are more fit than men of my age today. So I think I'm talking about, this age group. I think women are very fit and conscious. And I'm even talking about women who come from, I would say, more restricted social norms. Even I think they're conscious about their looks, and they do the gharelu nuskas to keep their skin glowing, and they even put it on Instagram that, dahi use karo, ye use karo. But everyone's like, I think everybody's a star now, and I've seen, and I find it so actually liberating for women, where I've seen women actually, even with their ghungats and all, dancing in their bedrooms and putting it out on Instagram. They're loving it. They're having a blast. So,
was there a moment in your life where you realized that your desire to control people or outcomes had started controlling you instead? They were taking a toll on you.
No, I had no desire to control anyone. So that's my first answer. So as, the head of a company, at times you need to take decisions which, you cannot please everyone. So at times, any organization that you head, when you take decisions which may not be suitable for person X, obviously that person may not be satisfied with my choice. But then always, as a business head, you have to follow certain protocols. You're answerable to people. You're answerable to your investors. Stakeholders. And you have to take calls which are not, you have to allow your head to rule your heart. That's the thing. As opposed to because I am the only person who's responsible for my personal choices. But I can't say that for a professional choice, so that's it. But I never had the desire to control anyone. I don't even control myself, so...
Who controls you?
I think my heart controls me, mostly. Okay. Not my head.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing? What is your experience?
I will tell you, I think your decisions, even personal decisions, I think your personal life, I personally feel that you should always allow your heart to rule your head, because if you're not happy yourself, it may be a right choice or a wrong choice, but if you're not happy, I don't think you can make anyone else happy. This is my personal view. Professional choices, I feel you should always allow your head to rule your heart. But there are times, we do slip. We allow our hearts to rule our heads, even in professional choices.
So some instances, if you can narrate where you slipped.
Well, there have been actually many, so it happens. You get softer sometimes with people, and where perhaps they have not met, I was running a big media company, And, I remember an instance where, like, we had a huge board meeting and they said, you need to change person X, Y, Z in the sales team because the numbers are not coming in.
All men dictating terms, I suppose.
That's all right, but it was, because I was the only female member on the board.
Yeah.
So anyway, and then after that I had to call my HR people, everyone. So they were all sitting outside my cabin because I had called someone inside to actually let go of the person, and then they're all kind of waiting, because it's a difficult call, and a lot of these people, they become your friends, your colleagues are your friends, you spend your entire, and then suddenly, my HR team is looking at me because I'm walking out with my hand on the shoulder of the person, and they're like, so I said, I can't do it. And of course the person stayed, and because of those personal choices, I realized that that was not the right choice. I mean, that's just one of the examples I'm giving you, because then ultimately you have to deliver numbers.
Example of heart over head.
Yeah, heart over head. Yeah. And then you feel really bad when the person sits there and says, how am I going to go and tell my wife I've been sacked? Okay, let's give it another try. It's another shot. So it happens.
Yeah. For women who believe in making a career for themselves and at the same time having a family, women have to play dual roles. In fact, multiple roles of handling so many things. They are multitaskers. So in that context, can ambition and relationship coexist, or is there a trade-off?
I think there is trade-off, yes, because if you're going to be working 16 to 17 hours a day, then it becomes very difficult because you don't have the mental bandwidth at times, to your tolerance levels. When you go home, then it is more of unwinding. Of course, when you're younger, I suppose, you learn how to balance because your children are growing up, you have your career, your energy levels are higher. But I have realized, more and more, I have got a lot of very young friends, who are in their 20s and in their 30s, because now I'm single. So, I am, my life is my life. I can, do whatever, pick up my bags and travel wherever I want to, do whatever I want to. I can just be friends with whoever I want to. I am not boxed in to a particular strata of society or age group or, gender. I can just do whatever I feel like. So I've realized even the younger lot of people, I think they are they choose to remain single now. That is fine. It's nice to be in a relationship. But I've seen more and more women, I would say, women, men, both, giving priority to their careers over settling down. They have their responsibilities towards their parents, siblings, and more, people who I meet, women, men, they're single now. They choose to be single, So and I think it is because of that entire balance. See, earlier, the whole purpose of marriage was, what was the social structure? Was the man as the provider, and the purpose of marriage was actually procreation. That was what it was. That vansh ke naam aage karna hai. That was the thing. And hence also, if there's a girl, you keep having babies till you get a son. Vansh aage badhana hai. Now also women were also kind of conditioned that you will be taken care of by your father, then your brother, then your husband, and then your son. That was that's how the institution of marriage began and all of that, right? But as women are getting more and more educated, and here education is not necessarily academic all the time. Now there are so many skills, people are becoming artists, they're becoming making, crores just by making reels, so abhi hunar har jagah mein.
Yes. So how do you handle public perception, good as well as bad, because there will be people coming to you, talking things to you, and when they talk to you, they start judging you. So
See, when people
how do you
talk to
handle
me on my face, nobody judges me. Everybody is very sweet to me. So I don't have a problem with that, honestly. And that's really the
But I'm sure you must be able to be seeing behind what's happening in their mind as you talk to them. You must.
See, I have been in the HR industry and then media. Obviously, I am a very perceptive person. That is obviously there. But I think one of the qualities that I have developed, which we all have, I think, having worked, while we also know what is going on in the person's head, we also know how to smile and take it, with everything, whether it is a compliment, and on your face, who's going to say bad things about you, right? But beyond that, and I genuinely feel that somebody else's perception should not rule my judgment or also my decisions. Because the moment I do that, I can control my actions. If I waste my time trying to control other people's thoughts, then I think I'm just wasting my time.
Yeah.
So I don't react, honestly. And everybody is nice to me on my face, but
You've never encountered a situation where somebody came to you and told you something nasty about you?
no, never. That's been, to be very honest, I would be very dishonest if I would say, I've read things about me, but having again been in the media space, myself, so I know how media works. And, it's a lot of it is masala news, a lot of it is, So it doesn't bother me. I'm used to, for example,
It doesn't bother you even when you read negative things
not
about
at all. I created news, yeah. So why would it? I created both positive and negative news. So I know. So for me, and I remember this. For me, it is actually, I think, I've trained myself over a period of time. So ever since, I'd say 2000, ever since I stepped into the media space, people know me from then, right? So people recognize my face. And it was only after a point when someone was traveling with me in the car. And obviously people look at you, you get used to people looking at you and recognizing, and you get so used to it that you're actually oblivious to people's stares. And it's a very initial phase. So this friend of mine in the car said that, they've recognized you, they're looking at you. So I said, really? So that is when, he said that maybe you don't even realize it anymore. And it's a fact. I mean, I've been doing that, and even now when I'm traveling, if I'm right from the time I enter the airport, even the guard wants a selfie. And then they say, madam, hum tag karenge, to please reshare karna story. It's like that. So I've been used to this since 2000. So it's a long time, sometimes for the right reasons, sometimes maybe for the wrong reasons. But now again, I'm back in the game for the right reasons, you see. So
how have your relationships changed with the people before and after 2022, in good times and bad times?
See, now I know who my real friends are. I know who
Are there any?
Yes. Okay. Yes, there are. So I know very few, very, very few. And, but, I think I have maintained, because once you're on the rise again, I think the same people who judge you, it is like, oh, hame to bahut dukh hui thi, par kya kare? There was pressure, there was this, there was that, but it's all right. So I know how much to give myself to those people.
Okay.
That's it. How much to hold back? I had actually this is a very interesting question that you asked. Were there any? I think I can literally, I would say there were barely 2-3 people who genuinely helped me with finances, because I had no access to funds. I couldn't even hire, of course.
Name these 2-3 people.
Oh, well, I think not now. At the right time, I would. I've written it in my book, Who My Friends, where I've thanked them profusely. And those are the people, who never judged me and who believed in me. That is, who believed in me. Mm-hmm. And I think that matters.
You've had multiple personal and professional partnerships. In hindsight, what matters more, loyalty or your freedom?
Both. Both loyalty and freedom.
And why would you say so?
No, because I don't think you can be in partnership. No, are you talking of personal partnerships? I'm sorry, I didn't get it.
Personal and professional partnerships.
Yeah. So I think in my personal life, okay, let me start off with personal. I'm a very free-spirited person, okay? But at the same time, if I'm with a partner, I would be loyal, and I would be loyal. And I wouldn't say I would expect, because I don't know whether everybody is conditioned to be loyal really. And loyalty is there is physical loyalty, there is emotional loyalty.
And it's subjective.
It is subjective. No, in my view, okay, what is very important is, I think emotional fidelity is very important.
Is it more important than physical loyalty?
Yes. I would say that because in case, even if you're in a very, very honest relationship, anybody at any time, it is possible to be, not that I endorse physical infidelity. Let me be very, very clear. I don't, okay? But if it happens for whatever reasons and the person actually genuinely it was a mistake, I feel the person deserves a second chance, whether it's a man or a woman, if it's a genuine mistake in a relationship. But emotional infidelity is a choice, is not a mistake. That is the fundamental difference in between emotional infidelity and physical infidelity. So if you have made a choice to be emotionally, unfaithful to your partner, I think the other person should move on.
Have you ever been betrayed emotionally? Of course. And have you betrayed emotionally?
I have actually, honestly, I have never betrayed anyone, either emotionally or physically. I'm very, very clear. I'm that way a very, very loyal person. Yes, I've been married more than once. I've been married twice. I've had a partner prior to that. But I can say that with my hand on my heart and very honestly, that I have neither ever been, physically or emotionally, ever I have betrayed my, their trust, or I have resorted to any form of infidelity, emotionally or loyally at any point in my life. With any of my partners, if I have chosen to move on, I have chosen to move on. Yeah. That's it. But from there on, they have never been, irrespective of age, size, shape, looks. Okay. If I'm with person X, मुझे उसके बाद और कोई अच्छे ही नहीं लगते हैं. It's that. I only like that person then as my partner.
Yeah. If you were to talk about your media vilification, was the outrage about morality or a woman defying expectations?
It was a combination of both. I think, when there is a woman who comes and in the eyes of society breaks norms, it actually makes a lot of people very uncomfortable because, people are comfortable in the defined spaces, or designated kind of roles and the norms of society, which is, I think, which applies to most people. And there's nothing, I wouldn't judge anyone else's judgments, let me put it that way, right? So it is their choice to judge whoever they want to. It is, like I'm saying, now I'm seeing this happening and I really, really feel bad for women who are getting, and this is the latest trend. Any woman who is seen with a younger man is instantly vilified. Why? It is the choice of those two people. It's as simple as that.
Why is it so difficult for society to understand what choice is?
Yeah, exactly. So it is fine. And I'm repeating this instance of Malaika Arora and, Jennifer Lopez. Why is Malaika Arora not allowed to have a younger boyfriend? Why not? She can, as long as the man is an adult, why not? It is just, I think it's such a shameful attitude. I would say, I am actually, honestly, I just wonder, that tomorrow if I happen to date someone younger, I think it will take I think that is going to be news. Only I don't have the time anymore. That's the thing. Honestly, I just don't have the time or the bandwidth for all of that. I'm very happy in my dance space, and I'm also giving, because my company is also giving a platform to a lot of young talent, new talent, which is, we've signed up our first talent, which is Subrat Panda. He's my co-star in Chitrangada, and he's doing a fantastic job. So it's interesting, actually. So I'm creating a lot of jobs. I'm very satisfied with all of that. So I've got a good team of now 40 odd people who are working in this production. So it's created employment for actually about over 50 people.
Right.
So I'm very satisfied.
Well, you have answered my next questions in bits and pieces. This is a direct question. What has solitude taught you that success and companionship never did?
Detachment. Detachment is very powerful.
I'm feeling that I'm sitting next to Gautam Buddha.
Well, maybe. Who knows? Gautam Buddha was also human, you see.
He said desire is the root cause of sorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've learned to actually care for people and also do things in a detached manner. Everything. मुझे अभी जो बोलते हैं ना, कर्म ही सब कुछ होता है. I believe just in continuing my life. I believe in giving myself time, me time. I believe in working really hard on things that make me happy, which is like right now for me it's dance and theatre. I'm loving it. I also like spending time with I'm doing, actually I wouldn't call it social cause. I'm doing it because it makes me happy. So I go and spend a lot of time with this blind organization. So that makes me really happy because they love dancing, and they, kind of also with some underprivileged women. So all of that is making me really, really happy. So
happy in a detached way.
In a very detached way. And mera bhi aisa hai na ki I'm putting up a show. For me, I am extremely happy that I have performed. Uske baad, I've given it my best shot. Audience loves it. It's, kind of a cherry on the cake. But nahi hua to bhi theek hai. I'm doing it for myself.
Okay. Yeah.
And I've created employment. These dancers are very happy. And in fact, our third Chitrangada show, people were actually whistling. And then my director said, oh my God, this is like a Salman Khan show, Salman Khan movie. People were whistling. So I think the biggest, satisfaction for any artist is the audience applause. Nothing can be more gratifying than that. So right now I'm very in a good space.
Okay. Yeah.
Because of my detached behavior.
This is our last question for the Rediff podcast. If everything you've lost so far were suddenly restored tomorrow, status, reputation, influence, family, would you want it back?
Let me start with status. Status is again very subjective. Okay. So I think I have been extremely, I would say, satisfied and happy with every phase and status of my life. So currently, I think the status that I have, which is a single status, is the best. I'm loving it. But I was equally happy when I was married during that phase. So so my status is single.
Single. Okay.
And very, very happily single.
Reputation?
So reputation again. Now reputation is very subjective as well. So jo logo ko, some time ago, just I would say till a couple of years back, people had several things to say about me. Now in 2024, suddenly I see a big headline saying Indrani Mukerjea wins hearts in Mumbai as Chitrangada. So reputation is also, I think, very, very, so if I won hearts, I think I'm in a good space as far as my reputation goes.
Okay.
Right? So that is second. What was your
influence? The influence you would wield.
Influence is again,
All things are subjective.
This thing, I think you can exercise influence if you are confident at any place and any time. And I can tell you that from my personal experience. Nidhar hoke raho, jahan bhi hai. Just don't be, if you are on the side of truth, I think you are an influential person. Because you're not afraid, I'm not afraid of anything. And the reason I'm not afraid of anything is because I'm, on the side of truth. So I'm influential at all points and at all times. This is my belief.
Yeah. And the last one was about family. Would you want your family back?
Family, I think I have got a much larger family. So when you're talking about family, would I want, so family is, personal level, would I want to get back with Peter? Answer one. The answer is, as a spouse, no. But if he's unwell, if he needs me by his side to take care of him, yes, I will be there for him. Okay, so that is answer one.
That's very forthrightly answered.
Yeah, and it's true. So, question two is, if you're talking about, I'm back with my daughter. So that is, of course, she's there with me. Family, I have got a huge family at work right now. And a lot of people, like I said, I, also do a lot of social work. I spend a lot of time with underprivileged kids and women and even men, actually. So all these people are emotionally, some of them are very financially also dependent on me. So it gives me a lot of, so that is an extended family for me. So I think I have a family now.
Okay.
So if would I want back, you said, so I think what I already have. Would I want a new family in terms of getting married again? The answer is no. I am absolutely sure that I don't want to get married again.
Okay.
But am I open to any relationship? Who knows? I mean, tomorrow if I really fall in love again, because in my personal life, I always allow my heart to rule my head. I may get into a relationship if I'm in love or something, but today I have no responsibilities. My kids are grown up. I've settled them, in whatever way. Financially, I've settled them. Emotionally, if they need me, I'm there for them. But I have no responsibilities. तो मैं और responsibilities अपनी जिंदगी में क्यों लाऊं?
Okay. Well, on that note, Indrani, thank you so much for visiting us at our office, and thank you so much for being a part of Rediff podcast. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Prasanna. Thank you, the entire team.